read 15 books in December. It's going to be very apparent why here in a minute. Hello my lovely friends, it's Margaret and it is time to nerd out about books. I am coming at you guys with my December wrap-up. Now this is going to be a wrap-up in 2 parts. I am going to do the first 6 books that I read in December in this video, and then in the next video I will be talking about the next 9 books that I read for the Magical Readathon and then for the rest of December. For my stats, I read 15 books in the month of December, as I said before. That came to a total of 6,964 pages in total, which was 464 pages per book. One of those was a graphic novel. 2 of those I switched between the print version and the audiobook. 5 of those were audiobook, and a whopping 8 books were hard copy books. I don't know how I did it, guys. The holidays, probably the fact that I had like a whole bunch of days off. That's probably what happened. Also, I wasn't writing a book this month. That also helps. I didn't have to do anything with my life but read when I got home from work. Of those books, 3 of them were 5-star books, 6 of them were 4-star books, 5 of them were 3-star books, and 1 of them was a 2-star book. The genre I read the most of was urban fantasy this month. I read 8 books that were urban fantasy books, which is why I separated them out. Usually I don't. I also read 4 regular fantasy books, 2 contemporaries, 1 sci-fi, and 1 dystopian. That is it for the stats. Let's get into the books that I read this month. The first book that I read was The Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan. This is the 3rd book in the Percy Jackson and the Olympians series. We are reading this for Demigods Anonymous, a read-along that I am hosting with Min Kobayashi and Kinsey Lee T. All of that information will be linked in the description box. This is the 3rd book in the series. I can't tell you much about it, but Percy Jackson starts out as a 12-year-old boy who discovers one fateful night that his father is one of the Greek gods, and it's kind of ruining his life. It is one of my favorite books. It has some like superior pining, just like A+ levels of pining. Also confusion about feelings because he's like 13, so he has no idea what he's thinking or feeling. I love it. It's fantastic. I'm really enjoying rereading this series. It is one of my favorite series, and it has been far too long since I have read this series. If you haven't figured out by now, all of the Percy Jackson books get 5 stars from me. They just do. They just do. That's how it works. They make my heart so very happy. The next book that I finished was A Court of Wings and Ruin by Sarah J. Maas. This is the 3rd book in the a.k.a. series, and yeah guys, I'm still a.k.a. trash. I know a lot of people did not like this book because not a lot happens, but like I like the fact that we got time with our favorite character. I will take character development over plot development anytime, and I felt like there was a lot of character development. There was a lot of like sitting and exploring the internal parts of the character versus like actually technically doing things. Like they tried to do a lot of stuff and it just went all to pieces, and I was fine with that. If you don't know, a.k.a., the A Court of Thorns and Roses series is about Feyre. She is a human who accidentally kills a fairy guard. And because she has done that, she has to give up her life to the fairies or risk breaking the treaty that protects the humans from the fairies on the north side of the wall. The fairy that comes to pick her up, he actually defines giving her life as just going to live in the fairy realm with them in his court, and it all kind of just happens from there. My favorite book in the series is still definitely A Court of Mist and Fury. I'm gonna go with the crowd on that one because it is so far the superior book in the series. It's amazing. The angst is there, but I still really did enjoy a lot of what happened in this. Really enjoyed it. Gave it 4 stars. Didn't quite make me as joyfully exuberant as A Court of Mist and Fury did. But also, there was so much more angst and ridiculousness in A Court of Mist and Fury, and like, I'm trash for angst and ridiculousness, and this is slightly less. But I did really enjoy it. The next 3 books all kind of go together. Hold on. Speaking of things I did not see coming, I thought I was gonna have some self-control with this series. Apparently, that just pretend, no self-control, none whatsoever. So I read all 3 of the Dark Artifices books in like a week and a half. Maybe 2 weeks, because yeah, okay, hold on. I'm gonna go through. I gave Lady Midnight 4 stars. I really liked it. There was a point of no return for me where I was just like, I just need to know what happens next. I just need the rest of this. The ending of this book, not my favorite ending, but in the best kind of way. Basically, this is about Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorne. They are 2 17-year-old shadowhunters who live at the Los Angeles Institute. They basically became their own family because both of them lost their parents during the Dark War, which you will know about if you read the Mortal Instruments series. The problem is that to stay together, they became Parabatai. and they're kind of in love with each other, and Parvati are not supposed to be in love with each other. And so this is just, it's awkward for everyone, and they're going through so many issues trying to figure out how to navigate this one. It was gorgeous. There was angst. There was pining. There were teenagers being ridiculous and not knowing how to talk about their feelings. The next book in the series, Lord of Shadows, I gave 5 stars. This is by far my favorite book. Like, it just, it hits that spot. Just made me so happy, even though it probably has the worst ending of any of the books in the series. I still loved it. It was still my favorite. There's a moment that was absolutely fantastic where you can just see Magnus going, I am way too old to be dealing with teenagers. I can't wait till his kids are teenagers. It's gonna be hilarious. Definitely my favorite book in the series. Definitely, 100%, absolutely my favorite book in the series. I literally picked this up as soon as I finished Lady Midnight, and I didn't stop reading it until Sunday evening. That's how my weekend went. The final book in the series is A Queen of Air and Darkness. I started the series because this was coming out, and I figured, it'll take me some time. By the time I can actually buy it, no, Margaret was funny. So I listened through all 3 of these. Well, no, I listened to Lady Midnight and Queen of Air and Darkness through Scribd because I couldn't get my hands on this guy. Because it was still coming in from my library. I actually ended up reading Lord of Shadows because I could read it faster than I could listen to it. I gave this 4 stars. I had some mixed feelings about it. Like, I really enjoyed it. There was so much about this book that I enjoyed, even though certain people were absolutely ridiculous. And I mean, like, I know they didn't really have a choice, but still, it was a horrible choice that they made. Just a stupid choice, and it caused so many problems for everyone else. I felt so bad for Emma. Emma did not deserve that. I felt like at the end we could have had a little bit more consequences, although they might be explored more or more discovered in the Wicked Power. I also felt like it could have been just a touch shorter. There were places where we did not need to go into as much detail. We did not need to see from that same situation from as many points of view. Like, I think it could have done just a touch more editing and trimming down. I also was a little frustrated at the end because she dangles something. You will see this if you read my reading blog. She dangles something from in front of you, both in Lord of Shadows and in Queen of Air and Darkness. And she does give it to you in this book, but it's as a story at the end of the book, which to me, like, just stick it in the main novel. We already have an 900 and something, almost 900 page novel. We already have an almost 900 page novel. Just, like, stick to your guns, Cassie. Like, if you're going to give us this huge honker, just own it and stick, because it could have worked. It could have gone in there, like, right before the very last scene. And so my frustration with that did take away from some of the joy of reading the ending of this book. Because I really cared about that, and I wanted everything else we got, but I wanted that first. This is one that could go up on a subsequent reread, especially, like, depending on where we go from here. The final book that we are going to talk about in this wrap-up is Catwoman Soulstealer by Sarah J. Maas. I've been on a Sarah J. Maas kick, apparently, recently, and mostly because of this book. I gave this 4 stars. I was so worried that I was going to be disappointed in it. I was so worried I was going to have issues with it, and I didn't. I really thought she did a good job. Now, there were some, like, minor, like, background things for some of the other characters that I had a slight issue with, and I do have the same issue with the romance in this one that I had in Batman Nightwalker, although slightly worse because she's actually of an age where she could be with Bruce and not have it be weird and creepy, like it would be when she was 13 and he was 18, but okay, whatever. So there is a full review, and there is going to be a spoiler section for the full review that I will be doing for this book at some point in my life, hopefully very soon. She just captured Selena's character so well. I love that she didn't just make Selena like the typical kind of sexy thief. She sees the cleverness that is Selena. She sees how smart Selena is. She's self-taught, she's really smart, and we got that. And I was so happy with that because so often we just get like the sexy cat character, which is so frustrating because there is so much more to Selena Kyle. And I felt she did a really good job. Listen, look at all of these tabs. Look at all of these tabs. Most of that is stuff that I enjoyed and loved. I also really liked getting to know Luke Fox a little more as a character. This left me wanting to pick up more of his stuff. Now, he doesn't have a dedicated line. He's mostly in Detective Comics, I think. But I thought he was a really good addition to the story, and I thought that outside of the romance, I really thought that he added to the story and that he was his own character, which is one of the issues I had with the romance in Batman Nightwalker. He was his own character. Even though I wasn't, don't mess with my OTP, he was still his own character, and I really, really appreciated that, and I really liked that. So those are the 6 books that I read in the first half of December. Let me know down below your favorite book from this month. Mine is actually not in this portion of the wrap-up, surprisingly. But you know, my favorite and my least favorite of the month are in the next one. Don't forget to go and look for part 2 of this wrap up so you can see the rest of the books that I read in the month of December. I almost said November, it's okay. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed already. I make videos 2 to 3 times a week on books and writing, and I would love to see your lovely face here on a regular basis. If you want more of me, you can find me on Instagram and Twitter. Those are both at the word nerd with a 3 in nerd instead of the E. Links will be down below. That is it for now, my friends. I will see you later when we will talk about more wordy, nerdy things. Bye!